Hey, not scheduled to come back on it, but just had a thought and I wanted to talk about something. Um, as they're having this vote-a-rama for the healthcare bill, they're literally right now making a determination on whether to take away healthcare from millions of Americans. John McCain has brain cancer, a particularly aggressive form of brain cancer. He dragged himself from the hospital after having surgery and having some kind of tumor removed. Comes to Congress and places the vote that brings them allowing this vote-a-rama onto the table. Millions of people, they're talking about taking away their health care. Now, they're not doing this because it's the best thing. They're not doing it because they looked at any kind of data to see what would be the way to get the most amount of health care at the best price for the rest of the country. Nope, they didn't do that. This was purely done for ideological reasons. This was purely done for political reasons. They were a dog chasing a car. They used the car to spin up support. They spent so much time trying to chase the car that now that they caught the car, they're terrified to actually take a bite. That doesn't mean that they don't necessarily won't take a bite. They could pass this particular bill and Donald Trump would sign this bill. Whether they pass it or not, who knows? Right now they don't seem to have the votes for it. But that could change. If that changes, they are going to steal healthcare from millions. I remember when there were Democrats who would lose their shit on the floor of the Senate. I'm going to show you such Democrat. Ted Kennedy is a lion. This was on the minimum wage. This is one of my favorite videos because it showed me what they were in comparison to what they are now.
About it, Mr. President, 10 years, the Republican leadership has basically refused to let us get it, even though a majority of the members in this body, a handful of those Republican members, have favored an increase in the minimum wage, but we have been unable to get to the sufficient to break the effective filibuster and deny us the opportunity to vote. These individuals that have been receiving the minimum wage, and their families, and their allies, and their supporters, and the workers of this country, the trade union movement, the AFL-CIO, the church groups, those that represent the great face of this country, and others, particularly Democrats and some conscientious Republicans, have said this is wrong, and we will try and do something about it. And they have, over the period of time, raised on initiatives in a number of states, in 6 different states where this issue was on the ballot, they indicated that they wanted the increase in the minimum wage. States have raised the minimum wage. But we have still not had this institution, the United States Senate, go on record to say to working families in this country that they ought to get a raise. $240 billion in tax breaks for corporations, $36 billion in tax breaks for small businesses, increase in productivity, 42% over the last 10 years. But do you think there's any increase in the minimum wage? No. 5 days on the floor of the United States Senate. We've considered immigration issues, as we have now. We've considered Social Security issues. We have considered health issues. We are considering education issues. We're considering additional kinds of tax breaks for wealthy corporations. But do we hear from the other side a willingness, as this side is at this moment, at 12 after 5 today on Thursday? I speak for all of our Democrats and say, we're prepared to vote now, 10 minutes, 15 minutes on this issue. But no, as we have been for the last 5 days, no, we've got other amendments, Senator. We've got other amendments. We've got other amendments to offer. We have now had amendments that have been worth over $200 billion. Amendments that have been offered. We've had amendments on education of $35 billion. We've had health savings amendments that'll benefit average for income of $112,000, $8 billion. We've had those kinds of amendments. And we're looking at the Kyle Amendment at $3 billion. But we still cannot get a $2.15 over 2 years. Over 2 years. What is the price? We ask the other side. What is the price that you want from these working men and women? What cost? How much more do we have to give to the private sector and the business? How many billion dollars more are you asking? Are you requiring? When does the greed stop? We ask the other side. That's the question, and that's the issue, Mr. President.
That man is a goddamn lion. That man is a goddamn lion. Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy. 420 is usually, so I explain it. Back during, I think it was a few months ago, I did a segment. I called it a 420 segment. It was literally 420, and I was like, all right guys, we're gonna have this kind of segment where we talk about weird, strange philosophical issues. It be some of anything. I think at that particular one we were talking about consciousness, and somebody was like, "Oh, dude, I really like that talk. I thought it was pretty awesome." And it became known as a 420. That's essentially where it came from. It's this kind of play off of Blaze One if you got one, and let's talk about really weird and interesting shit. That's where it came from. That Ted Kennedy video. You watch the tepid stuff that these guys are in there saying now in order to protect healthcare. You hear what he was saying when he was trying to fight for $2 increase. What would Ted Kennedy have been on the floor saying if they were trying to do this? What would Ted Kennedy be saying? What would this man who's losing his shit over healthcare screaming about? When would the greed stop? Literally at the top of his lungs. When would the greed stop? Fucking love that clip. That clip is, oh man, I love it. I love it. It does something to me. He's asking an interesting question. When does the greed stop? You have a system that says maximize your profits. Get as much as you can possibly get. Don't give a shit about society. Don't give a shit about anybody else. If I'm interacting with you, I'm doing so because I'm trying to get something off of you, because the model tells me that you're supposed to try to do that. When does the greed stop in a model that tells you get as much as you want, as fast as you can? Fuck everybody else. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I think I am going to do a 420. It'll be a quick one. I'm going to close it out, and I'm going to change the name to this particular one. But yeah. Let's do a 420. I'll rename it and everything else. I'll be back. Thanks, guys.